President Barrow refutes allegations of deplorable prison condition. Vote counting continues in U.S. as President Trump and Joe Biden hopes for victory. Hit by a severe water shortage, Fajikunda residents buy gallons of water from NAWEC. These and more coming on the wall today. Good evening, you're watching The World Today. My name is Sohna Tunkara and now the news in detail. Gambia's Central Prison, Mile 2, has never been in a high-standard correctional center, but when President Barrow changed power, but when power changed hands in 1994, things turned for the worse until date. President Adama Barrow, in an exclusive interview with iAfrica TV on October 29, said these allegations were not realistic. Details of that in this report.
Several witnesses who testified before the Third Commission said the situation at the Mile 2 prison was never and still not up to standards despite the change of government. The U.S. 2018 Human Rights Report on Gambia indicated that the country's prison conditions were harsh and potentially life-threatening due to food shortages, gross overcrowding, physical abuse, and inadequate sanitary conditions and medical care. Based on the testimonies of former prisoners, the average prisoners in each cell was 35 and sometimes 45. However, President Barrow told iAfrica TV in an interview that the situation at the Mile 2 prison has changed.
That is not a honest statement. That is not realistic. The people who are in the prisons, if you ask them what is happening today in the prison, even the food, the number of prisoners who occupy a cell, and the facilities at their disposal now, and the maintenance that we have carried out there, I'm telling you, it's day and night. Go ask the Director General. It's completely different. It's not the same.
All the prisons in the Gambia are better than Mile 2, as it is not fit for human beings to live. Malan Tamba, a prison warden and chief officer at Mile 2, told the Third Commission in July this year. The facility is said to be notorious for its grave conditions, torture by guards, and its use in holding political opponents of former President Yahya Jammeh. President Barrow said his government plans to build a new prison in the Gambia because they do not want people to suffer inhuman conditions or to die in prison. But there are no funds yet.
We even wanted to build a new prison. We have costed it, we have a plan and everything. All human rights bodies in the world, we have contacted everybody. Nobody have given us a damn, not one put. We're looking for 25 million to build a correction center. We don't want people to die in prison. We don't want people to go there and suffer. We want people to go there and they are corrected. They are reformed. This is what we want.
The Mile 2 prison is a notorious penal institution in West African nation, the Gambia. It is located on the highway between Serekunda and the capital city, Banjul. Across the road from a military barracks, Mile 2 is officially known as the State Central Prison. During his 22-year rule, Gambia's leader Yahya Jammeh mockingly called the notorious prison Africa's hell on earth. He also was known for swearing in public and threatening his fellow citizens that he will send them to his 5-star hotel, which was Mile 2. Mile 2 was built by British colonists in 1920 in a swampy area infested with mosquitoes and mangroves. Situated along the Banjul Highway, the prison has 3 areas: the security wing, main yard, and remand wing. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Daisy.
President Barrow refutes claims and said the Mile 2 prison condition has improved. Now, Americans have voted in a historic presidential election that shows former Vice President Joe Biden challenging the incumbent Donald Trump, who is seeking another 4-year term of office. In what has been a close contest so far, both candidates are optimistic of a victory as counting continues in crucial winning grounds.
The results suggest a tight race in key battlegrounds of the Midwest and the Rust Belt of Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. As the world awaits the final results of Tuesday's election, experts project it could go down to the wire to determine who would be the next president of the United States. Speaking earlier at the White House, President Trump said he suspected foul play in the election and threatened to take the matter to the Supreme Court. Trump, a Republican Party candidate, said he wants the voting to stop and that he has already won the election.
This is a fraud on the American public. This is an embarrassment to our country. We were getting ready to win this election. Frankly, we did win this election. So our goal now is to ensure the integrity for the good of this nation. This is a very big moment. This is a major fraud in our nation. We want the law to be used in a proper manner. So we'll be going to the U.S. Supreme Court. We want all voting to stop. We don't want them to find any ballots at 4 o'clock in the morning and add them to the list, okay?
Former Vice President and Democratic Party presidential candidate Joe Biden told his supporters at Chase Center in Wilmington, Delaware, that they are on track to win the elections. He also urged his supporters to be patient as the counting of votes continues.
I'm here to tell you tonight, we believe we're on track to win this election.
Yes.
We knew because of the unprecedented early vote and the mail-in vote that it's going to take a while. We're going to have to be patient until the hard work of tallying the votes is finished. And it ain't over till every vote is counted, every ballot is counted.
This has been one of the most tightly contested U.S. presidential elections in history. Donald Trump and Joe Biden each need 270 electoral college votes to win the presidency.
Both Joe Biden and President Trump are optimistic of victory. Now, the COVID-19 pandemic in Lebanon is part of an ongoing worldwide pandemic. The virus was first confirmed to have reached Lebanon in February 2020. The government of Lebanon confirmed 83,696 cases of coronavirus and 652 related deaths as of November 2nd. The WHO has provided support to the country, including helping the largest public hospital in Beirut with critical equipment. Ndesise tells us more.
On September 8, the Lebanese government announced that most businesses, including restaurants, nightclubs, cinemas, and social event halls, are permitted to operate again. Coronavirus cases increased after an enormous explosion in Beirut on August 4th that killed over 200 people and flooded the capital's hospital with the wounded. Dr. Iman Shankiti, WHO representative for Lebanon, said the World Health Body is supporting Lebanon's fight against COVID-19 with materials including equipment, training, and technical expertise.
It was the first hospital that was able in Lebanon that was able to test the cases of corona immediately after the first case was found.
In reaction to the pandemic, several religious institutions in Lebanon decided to act proactively, changing traditional ceremony methods to limit the spread of the virus. Churches and mosques have been cleaned and disinfected, and practices have been adjusted. Dr. Firas Abid, chairman of the board and director of Rafik Hariri Hospital, said the WHO has helped the hospital to prepare a negative pressure emergency unit from treating COVID-19 positive cases.
The WHO helped on several different areas. So there was help in providing, as we said, equipment. There was support in staff training. There was support in the protocols. There was support in the supplies that allowed our hospital to do the tests. And also, WHO put us in contact with several experts all over the world that allows us to use their expertise to more focus our efforts in our preparation.
Even before COVID-19 reached Lebanon, the WHO coordinated with the Ministry of Public Health to prepare for the outbreak through providing personal protective equipment, testing kits, and awareness materials on coronavirus and its preventive measures. The organization has also provided personal protective equipment to most public hospitals and has helped train nurses in Lebanon on COVID-19 preparedness and prevention. For iAfrica TV, I am Daisy.
From Lebanon heading back home, residents of Fajikunda have raised concerns over an acute water shortage that began 3 months ago. Some residents told iAfrica TV on Tuesday that they are living in a difficult situation as a result of the lack of safe drinking water. Fatumata Kasim has more.
The shortage of safe drinking water in the communities of Fajikunda have left residents in a very difficult situation. For the last 2 months or more, they have been struggling to have access to clean water and are forced to move around to places far from their homes in search of water. Some who could not bear the back-breaking effort of walking far distance in search of water have settled for drinking water from local wells. Aissatou Jallo, a resident in Fajikunda, said they have been experiencing access to water problem since the Ramadan in March this year. Jallo and other residents are left without an option but to buy water from the National Water and Electric Company NAWEC for 2 gallons at $25.
Borom pusi ñode indi ñaari bidon 25.
We fetch water from the well or buy it from NAWEC 2 gallons 25. We normally gave the money to the wheelbarrow pushers and they said NAWEC charged them for 25 2 gallons before allowing them to fetch.
For the NM Drame, the National Assembly member for Tumana, who also is a resident in Fajikunda, said the water shortage is a devastating situation. Honorable Drame said he and his brothers use cars to fetch gallons of water from the fire service in Churchillstown and the Atlas petrol station. He said NAWEC must ensure that people enjoy their right to safe drinking water.
Because access to water is not even a privilege, it's not a favor, it's a right. So therefore, we the people of Fajikunda are demanding for the rights. So NAWEC has to look into this issue, make sure that they solve this issue, because this cannot continue.
Aissatou, another resident of Fajikunda, said the issue of water shortage has been a major problem for a long time.
It is 1 week since we have been buying water, and a gallon of water is $10. Water shortage in Fajikunda is a problem.
For some Fajikunda residents like Baba Sisi, the water shortage problem has been on for 3 years now. It started when NAWEC supply water was very limited, available mainly at night, and the water from the taps wasn't enough according to Sisi. Then it started getting worse when they could not even get a single drop of water from the taps.
It's even more than 3 years.
It's more than 3 years now since this has been happening, especially in this compound. During late hours, you will see small droplets of water from the tap, which usually served a few buckets and close again.
Acute water shortages are becoming increasingly frequently across Gambia, especially in the capital Banjul and its surrounding area, where frustrations are mounting. Authorities have announced that they are unable to restore regular supply until at least December. The shortages are preventing many people from doing their daily chores as they will want to. According to local report service, interruptions are unpredictable, widespread, and can at least last for 5 hours per day. For iAfrica TV, I am Fatmata Kasim.
Residents of Fajikunda are buying gallons of water from NAWEC. We will now take a short commercial break and continue with the rest of our stories. Stay tuned. You're watching The World Today, and now to the rest of our stories. South Sudan's government is working on modalities to improve the country's national budget for the 2020-2021 fiscal year. The executive could not submit the budget at the National Assembly for approval due to the lack of functional legislative body in the country. While the COVID-19 pandemic has likely affected the country's source of revenue, authorities say they are committed to expanding the budget to improve the economy.
South Sudan still has no approved budget for 2020-2021. The proposals were supposed to be submitted to the National Assembly by May 15th.
What we have now is that the executive is the only mechanism which was established under the agreement. There's no legislation. Now, if we talk about a national budget requires a parliament to endorse. And that's why since up to today, the day of today, we don't have a national parliament in place that is really considered part of the spirit of the agreement or part of the provision of the agreement. We couldn't have a board that would endorse a national budget.
South Sudan depends on oil revenue to fund 98% of its budget. The effects of COVID-19 and a fall in global oil prices means reduced revenue for South Sudan's government. Inflation is also rising and civil servant salaries have lost value, and for months their wages have not been paid. South Sudan's government says it is working on a budget that will improve the economy.
The new salary structure for civil servants should be resubmitted, to be revisited and expedited, as well as the Emolument Act 2011 should be reviewed so that this salary structure is brought in line with the market index.
The government says its spending is increasing. The country has 5 vice presidents, 35 ministers, 9 deputy ministers, and will have 550 members of parliament as dictated by the current peace deal. The government says it is working to acquire loans from financial institutions such as African Development Bank.
For the past few months, South Sudan has been running without an annual budget as the cabinet approves supplementary budgetary allocations to keep the country running. Traditionally, South Sudan's financial year runs from July 1st to June 30th.
Some civil societies in South Sudan say even if the government completes the budgetary process, more work would be required to improve the economy.
We need to get part of the oil revenue to be injected to agricultural sector because we are 100% importing country. Importing country will never have economical strength until you become productive.
South Sudan has proposed a $1.6 billion budget for 2020-2021, a 29% increase from last year's expenditure.
Third-term seeking incumbents in West African states have attracted widespread criticism and resistance that mostly attracted violence. Tensions have been escalating in Guinea and Ivory Coast, where President Alpha Conde and Alassane Ouattara changed their country's constitution to allow them to be re-elected recently, overriding presidential tenure limits of 2 5-year terms. Let's hear more in this report.
Outside his home in Ivory Coast capital Abidjan, supporters of opposition leader Henry Konan Bedi chanted, "We're here." But so too were riot police. Security forces surrounded Bedi's house on Tuesday, where they used tear gas to disperse the crowd. Former Prime Minister Pascal Affi-N'Guessan's home was also surrounded, according to his wife. The government has accused the two candidates in Saturday's presidential election of an act of sedition, after they said they were setting up a parallel demonstration in defense of Alassane Ouattara's landslide victory. Bedi and N'Guessan, arguing that Ouattara's bid for a third term was unconstitutional, had urged their supporters to boycott the election, and on Monday announced the Transitional Council with Bedi as president. In a statement, the government asked the prosecutors to bring a criminal case. The Economic Community of West African States, the African Union, and the United Nations have urged the opposition to abandon the idea of a transitional council and engage in dialogue with the government.
Well, viewers, that was all in The World Today. You can join Mariama Cham on Gambia 24. Until then, good evening.